Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle Reinhardt, and I am a Health Institute graduate along with Lauren, and that's how we met. And I have a coaching business called Into You Yoga, where I collaborate my background in yoga, nursing, nutrition, and coaching to help people live their healthiest lives. And Lauren.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Lauren, obviously. I am a food and body coach, and I also graduated from the Health Coach Institute with Danielle. I am also a full time teacher right now. So the coaching is on the side right now, but hopefully that isn't for too much longer. And what I do in my coaching is I help women break free from dieting and help them to heal their relationship to food and their body and themselves and to just find their worth from within. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers who I am and what I do. So,
Perfect. So tonight's topic is navigating self-sabotage. So we thought we would start off by explaining what exactly self-sabotage is, um, as well as going through the different types of self-sabotage. So for the beginning, what exactly is self-sabotage? So what it is basically you knowing or not knowing, um, I guess, awareness around your actions of having a goal and then doing something to make it not achievable. So this could be a behavior that affects nearly any aspect of your life, between relationships or your um, weight loss, or could be a personal goal like applying for a job and you finding yourself not wanting to go near your computer. It's basically a behavior that's not serving you. It could be an old repetitive pattern that you keep doing over and over again. Um, and it's something that basically we all have as humans. So, some signs that you might notice if you are self sabotaging, maybe procrastinating, could be negative self talk, like I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this, like who am I to um, lose this weight, negative self talk like that. It could be behaviors that you keep repeating over and over again, like saying you're not going to drink uh, a beer every day after work, and then you just end up in the fridge, opening the fridge and taking out a beer. Or it could be your emotions, so feeling angry or having anxiety come up or feeling worthless. So these are all some signs of self sabotage that you might notice as we discuss through the session tonight.
all right. So, why do we self sabotage? First, I just want to mention that self sabotage is not a bad thing. It's really just your mind's way of protecting you. When we self sabotage, what we're really doing is we are trying to avoid fears, we're trying to avoid stress, we're trying to avoid rejection, and we're also trying to protect a lot of the core beliefs and the conditioning from which we're operating from. If you're not sure what that is, I'm going to go over that in 1 minute. But basically, our minds love to keep us safe, even if it means hindering our growth or hindering our healing. The mind does not like uncertainty. It does not like the unknown. So when we are working towards something that is going to put you out of your comfort zone, know that your mind is not going to like that because it's not safe, right? Uncertainty is not safe. It's a no-go for the mind. So it knows that going out of your comfort zone and going into the unknown is going to put you at risk for fear. You are at risk for all these difficult emotions like stress and rejection, and you are at risk for feeling emotions that your brain doesn't think is safe to feel. So basically, your mind feels more safe failing rather than succeeding. But the thing is that the success comes with the uncertainty that's not safe, which is why your mind would kind of rather you just fail and stay small so we don't have to worry about all the extra stuff that comes with being successful, or that comes with the journey on our way to success. I hope that makes sense. Um, so, the first thing is our beliefs and our conditioning, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. So, beliefs are um, basically stories that we tell ourselves, that we operate from. They form our conditioning, how we view ourselves, how we view the world around us, and basically just kind of determines our perception of our human experience. And they're in our subconscious, so most people don't really have awareness around what their beliefs are. I believe it's 95% of our thoughts are coming from these beliefs and our subconscious. So all of these core beliefs and our conditioning comes from our childhood. So what we saw, what we heard, what we experienced from parents, siblings, teachers, society. We are constantly telling ourselves the stories coming from our childhood and our conditioning, and it's preventing us from growth. And what I want to mention is that none of these beliefs and stories we have are even ours. The majority of what we believe about ourselves is not true. We're living from other people's perspective. So everything that was said to us, everything we saw, heard, we all internalized it so differently and created stories about ourselves and the world around us based off of what we experienced and how we internalized it. And we all internalize things very differently at that age. We're like sponges. We don't have an understanding of what's right or what's wrong. We're just taking everything in, and we're so trusting of people and what they're telling us. So we're just it just sets that time in your life sets the blueprint for your perception of life and yourself. So the good news is that you can rewrite these stories and you can make them true for you. So why is this related to self-sabotage? That is because our beliefs, our core beliefs, create our reality. It goes in like a sequence. So it starts with that belief, the thoughts that come from that belief, your feelings that are associated with it, that are going to turn into your actions. If your core beliefs are not in alignment with the action or the goal you want to have, you're going to self-sabotage because your mind is going to want to protect that belief. It's going to be looking for evidence that that belief is true. So an example would be if you have a core belief that my body is unlovable, or I'm unattractive. Your thoughts from that belief could be, no one's going to love me, or I won't be happy until I lose weight, or I won't be happy until I get married. The feelings that come from that could be shame, anxious, you could be depressed, and the actions that follow could be negative self talk. It could be numbing from from feeling those emotions, emotional eating, distracting yourself, alcohol or drug use, shopping, whatever it may be. So in this case, your mind is going to protect that belief. It's not going to want to go against that. So there comes, the self-sabotage trying to protect it. And because having a healthy relationship to your body would require you questioning those beliefs, facing suppressed emotions that you've been numbing out. And that's scary and uncomfortable. And the unknown of what will happen when you start to have a healthy relationship to your body is once again scary. And your mind doesn't like that scariness, or it's your mind takes that as being not safe, and it's going to fight against that. And when we have these beliefs, we tell ourselves things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, my body is gross. When we do that, when we're starting out a goal or something you want to work towards, when you're starting out with that belief, it's almost like you're setting yourself up for failure because you've already agreed with that belief. You've already identified yourself with that belief starting out. So you can't be successful with something if you're having these core beliefs and these stories that are constantly coming up and you're agreeing with them. Um, so I hope that makes sense. I was kind of rambling, but so these beliefs can sometimes be difficult to bring awareness around. So I have a little journaling exercise, and this is coming from the book You Are a Badass. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this before. It's a really, really good book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend reading it. But this is a exercise from this book on how to become aware of what limiting and core beliefs that you have. So in your journal, what you're gonna, and if you're watching the replay, you can just pause the video. But what you're gonna do is you'll write I am and then make some space and then write I should, make some space, and then write I can't, make some space, write I suck at, and then make some space, and then write I want and make some space. And underneath all those sentence starters, you're going to write the typical stories that you tell yourself starting with those phrases. So what are the stories that you are telling yourself about I am? Are you saying I am not good enough? Are you saying I am not worthy of this? Are you saying I can't um, I can't reach this goal? Are you saying I suck at working out consistently? Whatever it may be. Just take a moment, put on some relaxing music, and really sink into that and just start to become aware of what beliefs that you're holding about yourself. And it may take some time and these may not come up right away, but as you build more awareness, as you start to notice that you are getting in your own way of what you want, stop and ask yourself, what is the belief behind this? What am I believing to be true about myself? So when they start to come up, a little question sequence to go through would be to ask yourself, once you ask yourself, what is a core belief behind this behavior? Ask yourself, is this true? Is this belief 100% true? And remember, these beliefs aren't yours. Most 95% of the beliefs we have about ourselves aren't ours. They are coming from our childhood and things we internalized from our experiences. And the next part is, what are you choosing to believe instead? So we're going to reframe that belief. And this takes time and it takes constant repetition. So with this, you can turn the reframing into kind of like an affirmation. So what are you choosing to believe instead? So instead of saying, I'm not good enough, what I like to do, since it's hard to go from I'm not good enough to just believing that you're good enough. So putting I can't wait to, or I'm in the process of. So I can't wait to feel good enough for this, or I'm in the process of knowing that I am good enough and perfectly capable of accomplishing anything I want. And something that I recently started doing that my business coach told me to start doing with affirmations is to write like affirmations on a piece of paper and just stick it in your pocket or like stick it in your bra, I don't know, somewhere, and pull it out a couple times a day and just read it. And that really helps it just gives your mind some possibility that it is going to happen. So repetition, because all of your stories got into your brain by repetition, they are going to be rewired and reframed through repetition as well. So that is beliefs and how they relate to self sabotage.
Okay, so the next type of self sabotage scenario is acceptance. So most people will kind of relate to acceptance around food, um, meaning like if you're a vegetarian and you don't want to um, make anybody upset when you go home for Thanksgiving, you might not let people know that you no longer eat meat, and you'll end up eating it. Or you have a relationship with somebody and you don't want them to know you don't like sports or you don't know anything about sports. So you pretend that you um, love football, even though you don't understand it at all. And it's mainly related to you having some sort of deep rooted bond between you and the thing throwing you off from what you want. So the bond is most likely people and disappointment. So if we can kind of take our journal out or a piece of paper or kind of just think about some scenarios in your life that you might be desiring some sort of acceptance. Maybe it's something related to your job. Maybe you're starting a new job. Maybe it's around family or dating. What are some things in your life that you have some kind of desire for acceptance that might not be allowing you to meet your goal? And maybe think about things that, or make a list of all the things that you might lose if you were to follow through with this goal. So if you were to say, for example, start eating healthy, and things you might lose might be you're baking with your family on the weekends, or it could be the bond that you have with your partner at the end of the evening if you watch a movie and eat a bag of chips. It could be the fact that you won't be able to go to KFC anymore if that's your favorite meal of the week. What are some of the things that you might lose that's related to food, but it could be anything that you might lose in whatever acceptance scenario you are in. And the last question to think about is if there's anyone that might be negatively impacted by you wanting to reach your goal. So, is there someone that you can see in your life that this might impact negatively? So, is it a partner? Is it your mom? Is it your boss? Maybe your, I don't know, maybe your acceptance is around your work. Um, is there someone that's being affected negatively by you wanting to reach your goal of maybe moving to a different career path, or um, wanting to eat healthier? So the last question I have for you is, could you not meeting your goal have a positive intention for you? So is there some kind of reward for you saying you want to do something and not kind of following through with it? Is there some way of you saying you want something and that hold and not doing it serving you in some sort of way, being like, oh well, I just can't do it now, or having that repetition of thought that I want this but I can't do it now, that could be helping you prevent you from having that goal. So some things to think about when looking at acceptance, some tips to kind of work through is knowing that there's nothing more special and beautiful than being your true real self and allowing yourself to kind of speak and be who you are. Um, I think that if you kind of hide behind not feeling accepted, you're kind of putting a little shadow on yourself and kind of holding out on letting people see who you really are and that awesome person. So when you want to feel accepted, sometimes it's okay to be a little vulnerable and to share with others like the truth. Like, I don't know anything about football to your partner if that's their favorite thing, or about Thanksgiving dinner and not eating meat. It can be, I don't eat meat anymore, but I will do not feel bad. You do not need to make me anything else. I will just eat what other alternatives you have. Um, just being real and honest sometimes can go a long way. So trying to help you with this type of sabotage, you want to try to be aware of your thoughts. So the first action of change is awareness. So looking at what negative thought patterns you tend to have over and over, and just kind of draw awareness to them. And then the next step would be to work on your self-confidence. So work on loving yourself, making sure you do self-care, like meditation or spending time with yourself or journaling or going for a walk or doing something for you, as well as working on not letting other people's opinions affect you, because really other people's they're always going to have opinions. So it's working on not letting their opinion affect you. And if you are confident, most of the time people aren't going to question you as much, and you will feel less judged. And the last thing to remember is to set boundaries for yourself. So knowing when you know it's to cut a tie with people who are protecting yourself. So not all relationships can be healthy. So it's knowing when you feel a certain way, and then knowing when to walk away and what boundaries you need to set up in that place. Okay.
All right, so the next one is feeling like we have this kind of like reward system going on. Basically, this once again stems from our childhood. We were rewarded when we were good, right? Um, so a lot of times it's like, okay, I accomplished this. Now I should get praise. I should get some sort of reward for doing this. And I see this a lot with food. So many people think that they need rewarded for being good, um, on their diets, um, and it's a lot with exercise too. I see it a lot, and kind of like, okay, I worked out. No, I deserve this. I deserve to eat. And for me personally, since I work with people, who are trying to get away from dieting, a lot of this stuff is an example. If we're relating it to food, a lot of this particularly is related to diet culture, just because we're told that we should punish and reward ourselves for food, most definitely. But it doesn't stop at just food. It could be anything. We're constantly looking for praise. You know, when you are doing something really well and you just want someone to say they're proud of you. And if they don't, then you get discouraged and you just want to quit, right? So it's just important to build awareness around when you're kind of looking for that outside validation, and just understanding that just because it's not validated in some way or you don't get punished or rewarded, it doesn't mean that you aren't making progress, and there's no reason to be discouraged. And of course, you know, celebrate yourself and celebrate the small wins and appreciate yourself for how far you come. And yeah, I think this one's really mostly just about building awareness around when you're feeling like you need rewarded. So kind of a shorter one, but straight to the point.
And like I see this every day in my work with children, and how we do like if
Same.
if we do like say give them a poke or like a draw blood, they're like, okay, well, we're gonna get you a toy after this, and like or we're gonna treat you to ice cream for being good and listening to the doctor, and like things like that. Like it's just so ingrained in our culture, I think, like the reward mentality, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So the last scenario of self-sabotage is something is always more important, which I think a lot of people can relate to. Um, this is always when something seems to be more important than what your actual goal is. So a lot of people use the excuse of they don't have time, they're too busy. Um, and what you want to do is you need to become a priority for you to become able to achieve your goal that you are wanting to achieve. And I know personally, I have used this self sabotage for many scenarios or many goals that I've wanted to achieve. Um, and so this type of sabotage prevents you really from doing what you really want to do. And it's usually related to the fear or a base of fear. So the fear might be deep rooted, as in the fear of not loving yourself, the fear of achievement, the fear of success. Like, what if I actually created my business and followed through with it and I became successful? Then what? Or what if I made a bunch of money and then what? Like, people are going to be like, oh, now look at you. Or like, people are going to expect you to pay for things. There's always some sort of deep rooted fear that's making you afraid of following through. Or it could be as simple as um, you always doing things for your relationship or for your family or for your children, but you're not actually doing something that you want to do, any of your goals that you're wanting to do. Okay, so let's look at the habits that you tend to have when you are wanting to create or when you're wanting to do a goal. So maybe your goal for 2021 is to learn how to speak French, and you haven't, say, made any time or any real framework for how you want to achieve this goal. But you notice that you're always busy, and at the end of the night, the last thing you want to do is open up your French Duolingo and do your learn how to speak French. So let's kind of take our piece of paper or think about what it is that you are about to, like, or I guess think of the scenario. So for example, and that was the end of the day, but your scenario is um, you are about to do such and such for your goal. What is it that tends to hold you back? Or what is your thought that comes up in your head? Is it that you're too tired? Is it that you're not feeling like doing it? Is it that someone else requires your attention? What is it that's stopping you from preventing you from having you reach your goal? If you tend to look at this list and you notice that it seems to be the same thing consistently, put a star beside it. This tends to be a common reason for what's more important to you. It's kind of like a common excuse. And then look at kind of the habits you have around your thought of your goal. So your habit is something that you don't necessarily think about. It kind of just happens. So it's kind of ingrained in you, kind of um, you might notice that you do it, but you might not even notice that you're doing it. And it's part of your beliefs as well. So for example, if you want to lose weight, but every night you are not working out and you just get home and you're so tired, you just put your sweatpants on and you sit in front of the couch and watch TV and eat a bag of chips, you're self-sabotaging, as in something is more important. So what was more important in this scenario? So yes, you deserve to relax and unwind, but what was more important was you watching the TV show versus maybe working out in front of the TV. So looking at these kind of scenarios and these habits that you have, so you could still maybe watch your TV show, but maybe working out during the TV show or during commercial breaks, or figuring out recording the TV show and working out for 30 minutes before. These kind of scenarios will maybe help you achieve your self-sabotage. So some things to think about. Number one is you need to make yourself a priority, because if you don't make yourself a priority, nobody else is going to. You are your number one cheerleader. Some people might need to schedule it into their routine, because sometimes they just need to break the habit of doing something repetitively by mixing it up and until it becomes ingrained in your life. So maybe you need to schedule going for a walk, or maybe you need to schedule meal prep or doing something to set yourself up for success. And then last but not least, be accountable. Show up for yourself like you show up for everybody else, because if this is your type of sabotage, everyone else you're showing up for full on, and you need to make sure you show up for yourself in that same manner. Okay.
Yeah, and I think another way like of showing up for yourself and keeping yourself accountable is doing the inner work that has to be done too, to overcome your beliefs and to build awareness around your uh, self-sabotaging behaviors as well. I think some people get confused when they say, oh, be accountable, show up for yourself, but it can go a lot deeper than just kind of marking things off a checklist. So yeah. Um, well, thank you. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much. If you are, I guess I'll talk a little bit about my coaching, and then Danielle, you can talk about yours. There's obviously no obligation to like sign up for either of us. Obviously, it's super beneficial to have a coach and have someone offering you so much support in helping you navigate through any of your self sabotage or any of your beliefs and so on and so forth. So, my niche for coaching, and I mentioned it earlier, but I help women leave dieting for good and help them to have a healthy relationship to food in their body and have a sense of self-love and self-worth. And if that sounds like you, I do have a one-on-one coaching program, and you can, I guess we could leave each other's emails. I'll leave it in my Facebook group, and you can put it in however you're distributing. But if that's something you're interested in, we can have a free call where we just get to know each other and see if we are a good fit. But if it's not you, if it doesn't sound like you, no hard feelings. And I hope you enjoyed this workshop.
And my coaching practice is still being evolved, but you are free to still work with me if you want somebody as an accountability coach to help you reach your goals. My niche is going to be about health and wellness, and kind of using all my modalities that I have. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you guys if you reach out. Otherwise, have a great evening, and take care.
Bye.